Number 19. One day Larry was hanging out on the field at State Farm Stadium, and he started to wonder how high the roof was. The roof panels were open, so he took his trusty theodolite to the goal line and measured an angle from the ground to the roof opening of 30 degrees. He then went to midfield, 150 feet from the goal line, and he took another measurement. This time he found the angle from the ground to the roof opening to be 46.5 degrees. Based on Larry's measurements, what is the height, h, of State Farm Stadium? All right, so we started at the goal line. He found that the angle up to the roof was 30 degrees. And then he went to midfield, so that's 50 yards, 150 feet. And he took another angle measurement, and he found the measure of that angle to be 46.5 degrees. And now, based on that, we want to find the height of the roof. All right, so what we ultimately want to do is have this angle and some other side of one of the right triangles, either this smaller right triangle or the bigger right triangle. But in order to do that, we first need to find either this hypotenuse for the big triangle or this hypotenuse for the smaller triangle, the smaller right triangle. And to do that, we're going to use this triangle in here because we know one of the sides of that triangle. It's 150 feet. And we can also figure out the angles of that triangle because these angles here, this have got to add up to 180 degrees. So 180 minus 46.5 is 133.5. And then the three angles of the triangle have to add up to 180 degrees. So this angle is going to be 16.5 degrees. So now we know the angles of that triangle and we know one of the sides. So we can use the law of sines to find either of the other sides of that triangle. So let's go ahead and find this outer, this line right here. And to do that, let's call this x for now. All right, so the law of sines says that the sine of this angle divided by x is going to be equal to the sine of this angle divided by 150 feet. So the sine of 133.5 degrees divided by x is going to be equal to the sine of 16.5 degrees divided by 150 feet. Now we can cross multiply here. We had x times the sine of 16.5 degrees is equal to 150 times the sine of 133.5. And now we can get x by itself by dividing both sides by the sine of 16.5 degrees. These will cancel. And now x is going to be equal to this. And we can plug that into our calculator. We're going to get that x is equal to 383.1 feet. So now we can plug that in up here. We know that this length now is 383.1 feet. All right, now we have enough information to find h. Because we know the hypotenuse of this big triangle, we know it's a right triangle, we're trying to find h, and we also know this angle down here. So from this angle, this is the opposite side, and we know the hypotenuse, so we're going to use sine. The sine of 30 degrees is going to be equal to the opposite side, which is h, divided by the hypotenuse, which is 383.1. And then to solve for h, we can multiply both sides by 383.1. So we get that h is equal to 383.1 times the sine of 30 degrees. And we know that the sine of 30 degrees is 1/2. So h is going to equal 383.1 times 1/2, which is 191.55 feet. And that's going to be our answer.